It is. It's just gone 5 o'clock, and you know what that means. It's time for the locker room on Indie Live Radio, and you lucky people if you're watching us on Independence Live. You can see me and Graham. Um, that's why we've got voices for radio, and Graham has got a face for TV, and I haven't. So good news tonight, we're back till 2 hours, so no need to squeeze it in a plastic bag for an hour. We're here for 2 hours, between 5 and 7. By the way, I don't know where I got the joke about a plastic bag for. That was a bit random, but never mind. So my name is Mike McCune. Graham Duffy is with us tonight as well. How are you, Graham?
I'm all good, mate. Looking forward to our normal 2 hour show. Can't wait now.
Yep, no, we're back. We're back. Normal service has resumed, as I say. So you can comment. You can comment below. Just use the comments tab on YouTube or Facebook Live or wherever you're watching this. And if you want to watch it again and again and again and again, and I think that's enough agains, you can watch it again, if you know what I mean. And you can tweet us tonight at the Locker Room Indie on Twitter as well. I had to look at my iPad to remember me. You would think I would remember now because I've been doing the show for 2 years, but yeah, nope. So yeah, you can comment below as well. So tonight coming up, we have got football, we have got Commonwealth Games, we even speak about the women's darts tournament this weekend. So it's a big weekend for the women's darts because it's the first weekend the women's darts has been televised. So more news on that coming soon. So before we get into speaking about Hearts, because Glenn was dying to talk about Hearts, especially after the last year's signings, let's speak about going back down to earth where bang, the Europa League last night, Graham. Motherwell get beat 1-0 by Sligo Rovers in the first leg of the Conference League.
Yeah, apart from Celtic and Rangers, Scottish teams don't tend to do very well in Europe, do they? That was a major disappointment for Motherwell last night. They had a lot of possession. Again, I think the biggest threat, as usual, was Kevin Van Veen. They had a couple of decent chances, but the goal they lost, a poor goal. It's a poor mistake from Bevis Mugabe. And a very, very good finish from Aidan Keena, an ex-Jambo, we'll have to say. It's a really good chip. And after that, I thought Sligo defended very well. You know, they sat very deep. They were very compact. And Motherwell didn't create a lot after that. I think Motherwell fans were very frustrated, as you can imagine. I think a lot of Motherwell fans would have expected to win that game last night. They obviously have the chance to get, a bit of revenge in the second leg, but it's a major disappointment. Motherwell would have expected to win that game. But you said before the show as well, Sligo have already played 23 games this season. Their season's already started, so they do have a bit of an advantage. But I would have expected Motherwell to be a lot better last night. But the second leg's a big game for them now. They have to come through that. Do I think they will? I don't know, because I think Sligo have got a threat on the break with Aidan Keena. But a major disappointment for them last night. Really, really, really poor.
Yeah, especially at home as well. Because I think I saw few videos on YouTube, and there was a lot of fans going to the game, especially from the Well Boys that they called them, as well. So they had that backing as well, and obviously it was more like a kind of party atmosphere, you would say, but Sligo kind of spoiled that party.
They did, but as Hashbury Stumble comes in, what a great name that is! I love that name. Early game for Motherwell, where Sligo well into the season. Yeah, I completely agree. It is very early in the season for Motherwell. Yeah. I was expecting to be better in the second leg, but I think, listen, there's a lot of Motherwell fans are not massively keen on Graham Alexander, and a result like that last night just makes it a lot worse. Now, I think Motherwell had a decent season last season. The fact they've gotten to Europe as well is great for them. And I think they have a chance to turn it around. But again, if they go to Sligo and they lose an early goal or they lose the first goal, that could be an absolute killer. And as I said, they've really only got Kevin Van Veen for me that looks like he's going to score. I think Connor Shields is a decent player. He did well for County of the South and he was there. He did okay for Motherwell times last season, but they need more of a goal threat. Now, you spoke about this last season as well, the fact that when they lost Tony Watt, they didn't really replace him, and I still don't think they have. So it'll be a massive game for them next week, but they've got to be a little bit better in breaking teams down that sit behind the ball, which is exactly what Sligo did last night. You can understand why. They've got 1-0 lead. They don't have to go chasing the game, so they did what they had to do. But even then, Sligo are still a threat on the break, so Motherwell need to be prepared for that next week.
And I suppose, like, going back to the contributors' point, the early games from Motherwell, but as I was saying to you before we came on air, teams, no disrespect to teams from Ireland or that, but you would think teams like Motherwell or even Hearts would maybe do a job on them or do a number on them on the night. But I was going to say 23 games, as you said, into the season. Do you think it's a bit unfair for teams to be 20 games into the season, and yet Motherwell, that was their kind of first kind of like competitive game?
Yeah, I think so. This happens a lot in European football. You see it numerous times over the season where, like, Hearts, Aberdeen, Dundee United, whoever, they start the league, the European campaign, and other teams have already started there, so they have a bit of an advantage. But I would still have expected Motherwell to be better last night. I know it's still very early in the season, but especially at home, I don't think it was a case of they weren't up for it. And I saw that the Sligo Rovers manager, I think last night, had actually said that he maybe thought Motherwell underestimated Sligo Rovers. I don't know if I agree with that. I just think that Sligo are well into their season so far. Motherwell haven't kicked the ball yet, so it was going to be difficult. But I still think that second leg will be a massive game for Motherwell. If they can come through that, fantastic. But, again, Hashbury Stubble comes in and said, I think Motherwell had only played 2 friendlies, which is true again. Yeah. So it is very, very early in the season. But I think if you're a Motherwell fan, I can understand why you were frustrated last night. But they've still got a second leg to come, which, listen, I think they've got a very, very good chance. But I said, if they lose that first goal, it's going to be a very difficult game.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, so, but because it's the Europa Conference League, that's the only chance Motherwell has got for European action this season. And if they get beaten next week, what I hope they don't, that means they'll be out. And back to Stephen Robertson's, he'll be in the shaky peg, as they say in Scotland.
Well, it's Graham Alexander, but you were close.
Oh, yeah.
I said his name like 2 minutes ago. What you listening to? I think
2 hours to go as well.
This is going to be a long 2 hours.
Well.
No, I mean, I think Motherwell will be looking to strengthen. They've still got another week to go before the season starts. They've still got until the end of the month or end of August till the transfer window closes. So I think they'll be looking to do a bit more business. And for me, I think they have to sign at least 1 or 2 strikers because I think they rely far too much on Kevin Van Veen. And again, as I said, I think he looked lively yesterday, but he couldn't quite get that breakthrough. But I think Motherwell, with that second leg, I think it's going to be a massive game for them. I'd expect Sligo Rovers to probably, I don't know what they'll do next week. Will they sit back and let Motherwell come out and try and hit on the break? It's a difficult one, but you would hope Motherwell will come through that now. And as you said, if they get knocked out of that, it's a very poor start, but it is very, very early in the season. And I think if you look at last season as well, Motherwell went weeks without winning a game, and then I think they won 2 in a row and got to European football. Listen, if that was Hearts, I'd be delighted with that. But I think Motherwell need to give Alexander a bit more time. He did well for me last season, but next week's a massive game for them.
We could go as far as to say it's a cup final.
It's probably slightly early for that. I don't really expect Motherwell to get that far in Europe anyway. Like I don't expect United to get far in Europe either. Hearts will at least be in one of the Europa League group stages, whether it's Europa League or Conference League. So we're going to be in the group stages. But I don't really expect, and I'm not being harsh, but I don't really expect Motherwell United to get that far in Europe anyway. I expect Celtic and Rangers to, but I don't expect other teams to do it.
I suppose it's, well, yeah, I don't know what a lot of fans will say here, but I suppose that it's a bonus for teams like Motherwell and St Johnstone to get to European football, to get extra revenue in, because let's face it, European football kind of helps teams like the lesser teams outside of maybe Celtic, Rangers, maybe Hearts as well. You would say as well, but yeah. So I mean, if Motherwell don't get through next week, I don't think they'll get any money, because it's what I think it's. Am I right in saying that if you go through to if you keep kind of like progressing in the competition, you get more money?
Yeah, and I think that'll be a massive boost for Motherwell the further they can get. But I mean, I've just said, do I think Motherwell will get through next week? I'm not sure, but I think I'm going to put my head on the parapet here and say I think they will just sneak it through. And I think Kevin Van Veen will probably be the main man for that. But the further they get, the better it will be. And, you talk about St Johnstone, they had that game against Galatasaray a couple of seasons ago. I mean, Dermot Park was probably the most it's been full for a long time. And that was brilliant. You've just said that for a team like St Johnstone to get European football was absolutely brilliant. And then they kind of fell away in the league. But honestly, as a Hearts fan, I love watching European football at Tynecastle. And it's the same for Motherwell fans, St Johnstone fans, United fans. Having that little bit of something different, watching European football at your grounds, I think it's brilliant.
And I suppose that obviously we're going on to speak about Hearts in a minute or two. You can see Glim Duffy's face because lighting up. No, he's not actually switched on the light on the kitchen. It's just his face goes beaming, because I'm going to speak about maybe, or is it Hibs first and then Hearts? Oh no,
you can talk about Hibs first if you want. I'm buzzing for that. Get them on.
Yeah. But also the thing I was going to say was, see, you've actually forgotten what I was going to say there, Glenn. Well done. Told you it's going to be a long show tonight. Yeah. So basically, yeah. So I can't remember what we were going to say there. Anyway, let's speak about how. Oh no, that's what I was going to say. At least when Motherwell's in the Europa Cup and they get beaten around, you actually get knocked down to the Europa Conference League, and I mean you played it around down there, but because at the bottom there's no any European football if they get beat.
No, and I think there'll be a disappointment. But I mean, if Motherwell can get even a couple of rounds in, that would be absolutely massive. And I think again, Hashbury Stumble said around €200,000 to get through this round, which will be that's a decent money for a club like Motherwell. So that'll be a massive bonus if they can get through this. And as I said, the further they can get, the more money they can get. That'll be a massive, massive boost for them. And you'd like to think they'll invest that in the squad, because as I say, I think they need at least another couple of strikers, because they rely far too heavily on Van Veen, who I think is a very, very good player. And I'm actually quite surprised that, obviously not Celtic and Rangers, but I'm actually surprised that another club in Scotland hasn't maybe gone in for him, like an Aberdeen, a Hibs, something like that, because he is a very, very good player.
And he's a bit of a nuisance in the box.
Put your teeth back in, mate. I think I genuinely think he's a very, very good player, and he's been the reason that Motherwell have been in Europe, to be honest. The goals that he scored, he links the game really well. He's got a bit of pace and he's got good movement around the box. I think he's a very, very good player. And I think if, as I say, Motherwell can get through, I think he'll be one of the reasons that they get through, because I think he's a very, very good player.
Okay, so second leg next Thursday, we'll see what happens, but we wish Motherwell well as well. But you must admit, I think they would need to start well and score an early goal in the game.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's how Sligo are going to play it. Are they going to sit back and think, right, we'll take the 1-0 win, which is very dangerous when you're sitting back for 90 minutes hoping not to concede. So I think it'll be interesting to see what Sligo do. Will they be one of these teams that actually comes out and tries to win the game? So it'll be an interesting tie. But if Motherwell can score first, it'll give them a massive lift, and I think they might go on to win the game. But it's just, if Sligo score first, it's going to make it very difficult. And as well, I don't think there's away goals now either. I think they cut that out.
No. Yeah.
So, you're looking at Motherwell maybe having to score 3 goals if they go behind. So that could be very difficult.
Let's speak about Hearts now in Grimsby. Oh, thank God for that. Lawrence Shanklin has signed for Hearts, has a brilliant signing again, and also a few other signings to remember a few, but Aaron Forrest as well. Because I think I was saying to you a few weeks ago on the show, Graham, or maybe, I said that last season as well when I was at Livingston. He goes scores for fun every week. Every time you look at the Livingston or who scored, but Aaron Forrest every week. So that's a good thing. And then Lawrence Shanklin thing for Hearts as well today. So yesterday, good signing.
So on Alan Forrest, I think he's a very good player, and I'm not just saying this because he's for Hearts. I think I've always liked him. He's got that bit of pace and a bit of ability about him. I've heard a lot of folks saying he's the better brother. I think James is probably maybe a better player, but I do like Alan Forrest. He's very direct. Now, I know it's only been friendlies, but I've watched him in a few of the friendlies so far this season, and every time he gets the ball, he just takes his man on. That's what I want from a wide player, and I think he will add quite a few goals, and he will add quite a few assists. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Lawrence Shanklin, I am delighted. Now, John Robertson left Hearts about 24 years ago, and I don't think we've had a striker like that since then. We've had strikers who can score goals. You've got Kyle Lafferty, Andres Velichka, Gennaro Zifuk. You've had Liam Boyce. But I don't think we've had a natural goal scorer, like a penalty box striker, and I think Shanklin is that. Now, I know that, he didn't have a great time at Beershot. He only scored 5 goals and he got relegated, but he was played out of position a lot. When he played at Aberdeen, again, he was played out of position. He went to Dundee United, where obviously he is known very well by Robbie Nielsen, and he scored 40 goals in 74 games. Now, I know folk will say, it's Championship. Can he do it in the Premier League? I think with the creative players that Hearts have got, the likes of Alan Forrest, Barry Mackay, George Grant, I personally feel that Lawrence Shanklin could be the first 20-goal season striker we've had for a long time. So I'm delighted with that. It's a 3-year deal for an undisclosed fee. I don't know why they do that. Just tell us what the fee was, but I don't care. I'm delighted he's here. I can't wait to see what he's going to do. And I just think it's a signing we've missed. We've really, really missed a penalty box striker for a long time, and I think he will get goals for us. So I'm intrigued to see what he can do, but I'm really pleased that we've got
him. You said there about it'll be good to get goals for Hearts, but more importantly, you're in European football this season, and he's a goal scorer, and he's played for Scotland as well. So using his experience and under the Tynecastle floodlights, it must kind of excite you a wee bit, Graham.
I was excited on Tuesday because Tuesday morning it was announced in the media that he was at Tynecastle for to get his photos taken. All day I was waiting for Hearts to announce this, and it hadn't been announced yet. And I thought, right, what's happened here? Where is he? Why has he not been announced? So I thought, right, he'll be announced Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning came, nothing. Wednesday afternoon came, nothing. I then go on Twitter and I get completely fooled by somebody saying he's failed his medical, and I thought, oh, that's that then. And then later on, Hearts announced it, and I was delighted. I've never been so pleased for a signing in my life. I just think he's a very, very good player. And like you said, European football, under the likes of Tynecastle, I think he will be a really, really good player for us. And I do think we need another striker. I think we need a physical striker because we don't really have that. I think Boyce and Shanklin are very similar in their traits. I don't think we've got that kind of physical presence that you might need in European football. But honestly, I just think Shanklin... I think the thing is, when you sign a new striker, he needs to get off the mark pretty quickly. So I'm hoping he'll score early in his career. But as I say, with the players that are going to be creating for him, I don't see there's any reason why he can't score between 15 to 20 goals. But I'm generally very excited. I did my own podcast yesterday and I talked about this. I'm genuinely very excited to see what he can do, and I think he will. I don't think he'll be top scorer in the league. I think that'll probably be a Celtic and Rangers player, but I think he'll be very, very close to being up there.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Maybe the top five, and all that. But you never say never in football, Graham. You know, I remember. I'll say it again. I remember last season that somebody said Celtic will win the league, and a lot of people, including you, Mr. Duffy, was laughing at me. But I had
But
to final laugh.
that's just normal, though. We have to laugh at you.
Well, yeah. I laugh at myself when I look in the mirror. But well, that's a different matter altogether. So, are you a happy jambo so far, Graham?
I am. I think the business we've done has been very good. We've got Alec Cochran back from Brighton. We've signed George Grant, who I've been very impressed with. I know it's only been pre-season games, but I like the fact that as a midfielder, he always wants the ball. He's always looking to try and create something, and he gets it in the box, and I like that. We signed Lewis Nielsen from Dundee United. I spoke to Dave about this when we did a transfer show, and he said that Nielsen's very highly rated, so he's a very good player. We've now got Lauren Shankland, Alan Forrest I'm delighted with, and Kai Rowles, a centre-back from Central Coast Mariners. I'm really pleased with what we've done. Joe Savage, sporting director, and Robin Nielsen, manager, have always said he wants quantity over quality. And I think, quality over quantity, wrong way around. And I think we've got that. But I do know that Robbie has said that he wants another 3 signings. He wants a centre-back, he wants another midfielder, and an attacking creative player. So there's still room to improve the squad. And we need it. Because as you've talked about, we've got European football, so we're going to be playing every Thursday and Sunday. We need a bigger squad. We need a squad of around 30. So I'm really pleased with what we've done so far. And again, Joe Savage, just listened to him earlier on the Sky Sports News, and he talked about being ambitious and wanting to win the league. Now, I love that. Every year, I go into a season hoping that we can challenge the old firm. I've done it again. Celtic and Rangers. And I really hope we can split them, but it is very difficult. And Joe Savage said, and I've said this before, when you go on the pitch against Celtic and Rangers, it's 11 against 11. You win your individual battles. But obviously Celtic and Rangers got that little bit more quality. They make the right pass. They make the right decisions. Teams like Hearts, Hibs, Dundee United, they kind of don't do that often enough. So I like the fact that Joe Savage has got ambition. I like the fact that Robin Nielsen's got ambition, even though I wanted him sacked 2 years ago, but we'll skip over that. But I'm just very pleased with how things are going just now. And I hope we have a good season. And listen, if somebody said to me now, what's your expectation for the new season ahead? To be honest, I would probably say it'll be finishing third again, winning at least a couple of games in European football. And the big one for me is winning a trophy. Because I would like to see Hearts win at least the Scottish Cup or the League Cup. You look at St Johnstone 2 years ago, they won both. There is no reason that a club like Hearts, Hibs, Aberdeen should be doing the same thing. So I'd like to see us win a trophy. I think the Scottish Cup final against Rangers, we let ourselves down. I was delighted to get there, but when we got there, and you'd see this yourself as a Celtic fan, when Hearts got there, we didn't really do enough. We didn't have a shot on target, and that was disappointing for me. So we have to do better in cup finals when we get there. But I'm excited to see what we do. Start the season next week. Ross County at home, get 3 points on the board, and then it's the first derby of the season, Easter Road. So what more could you ask for? Remember a derby already?
While we've been on air, Graham, well, just before we come on air, actually, Kilmarnock has signed a goalkeeper, the former Aberdeen goalkeeper, Gary Woods, from Middlesbrough. What do you think of that one?
Decent signing. He's a good goalkeeper.
He's only 30. He's only 31.
Oh, just a baby then, in terms of goalkeeper.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll do very well. He's got plenty of experience as a good goalkeeper. I'm sure he was at Hamilton Accies at one point as well. But I think he'll do well. And I think, again, Kilmarnock have done okay in the window so far. I think they've probably got a few more signings to make. But I expect Kilmarnock, I don't think they'll be top 6. Even with Derek McInnes as manager, I don't think they'll be top 6 yet. But again, there's a long way to go before the window closes. 31st of August, I think it is.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of time left, but it's a good experienced goalkeeper. So, yeah, good signing for them.
Yeah, no, you're right, Graham. I think for Hamilton, before joining Aberdeen in October 2000, and 22. So there you go. Well done. Give yourself a pat on the back for that one.
I'm doing it now.
Let's speak about your neighbours, Hibs. What's been going on there, Graham? That I think it was you that texted me during the week, or maybe I thought I can't remember. It's been a long week. About the fielded an uneligible player against Morton.
It's not been so much sunshine on Leith recently. It's more been sorrow. I'm happy with that. Can I quit now? No, so it's been a very disappointing few days for Hibs. You know, they'd only beaten Clyde and Bonnyrigg Rose in the cup so far. They lost to Falkirk, and then they drew with Morton at home on Wednesday night. But they lost the penalty shootout, so they're on 7 points. And then they were looking really at the games this weekend to see if they're going to be knocked out or not. In the end, it didn't matter because yesterday it came out that Rocky Bashiri, the defender who most Hibs fans didn't want back anyway and didn't rate, was apparently supposed to be suspended, and he played the full game against Morton. So the punishment came out yesterday that Morton were handed a 3-0 victory and Hibs were given a suspended fine, which means that Hibs are now out of the League Cup before Hearts have even entered it. Joyous, loving it.
I mean, how daft can one football club? Well, I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to ask you that one. But okay, I'm halfway there. How daft can one football club be, Graham?
Well, I think our colleague James Elliott mentioned it on the show on the group chat yesterday. How can they not have noticed that? And I think, listen, Hearts did this a few years ago. Andy Irvine was ineligible. We got a 2-point deduction and I think a fine as well. And I'm sure Elgin City also fielded a suspended player. I don't know how this still happens. Surely somebody should be checking people that are suspended or not. I don't know how it's still happening in this day and age. But it's just been an absolute farce. It really is. And if you're a Hibs fan watching this show, you must be slightly embarrassed by the whole thing. And listen, the fact that Hibs are out already, and even before this, it was looking very dodgy because they were looking like they're going to be out anyway because of the results this weekend could have gone against them. So it's been a very, very poor start for Hibs. What I will say is, as with Motherwell, it's still very early in the season. There's still a whole league campaign to come. I said this last season after the shows. I expect Hibs and Aberdeen to be a lot better this season because it can't be any worse. But it's a very poor start for Lee Johnson so far, and that's the last thing we'd have wanted. And obviously then today, you've got their owner, Ron Gordon, coming out and saying that he's raging about the fact that Hibs against Hearts is the first game at Easter Road in the season, which is just an absolute nonsense, let's be honest. Yeah, this has happened numerous times before where Hibs and Hearts have been drawn together for like the second game of the season. But he's talking about the fact that Hibs have got construction works going on and all that kind of stuff. It makes no difference. I mean, Hibs should still get a decent crowd for that first game. And for me, I'd be buzzing. My first home game of the season, an Edinburgh derby, I'd be absolutely buzzing for that. So I think it's absolute nonsense.
I mean, I think you would take the first derby game whenever you get it, the first game, the second game, the first game of the season. It doesn't matter when, Graham. You know, as long as because you'd be wanting to play your rivals every weekend if you could. But for Ron Gordon to come out and make a statement like that, I don't know if he's coming out to make a statement like that to get a bit of kind of publicity and say, by the way, do you know who I am? Because there's still a lot of people out there that doesn't know who the guy is.
Well, this is a boy that appointed his son as kind of a recruitment guy, which is just an absolute. I mean, how bad is that? Appointing your son. I mean, seriously, get a grip. I mean, I just think Hibs at the moment are not being. I feel sorry for Lee Johnson because I think he's a decent guy. He's an ex-Jambo, but he didn't play a lot of games for us. And I keep saying, Agent Johnston, you're doing a great job, but that's maybe a bit harsh. But I just think it's putting a lot of undue pressure on Lee Johnson already this early in the season. And I have to be honest and say that he's come out the last couple of times against Falkirk and against Morton. And he wasn't happy. He was very honest. And I think that's what you want from your manager. You want a bit of honesty. So I think he's getting put under pressure very early by his owner, coming out with stuff like that, saying, "Oh, we're really disappointed in it. It's an absurd decision to play the Hibs Hearts game, the second game of the season." It's just nonsense. And this whole Rocky Bashiri thing. I mean, as I said, most Hibs fans didn't want Bashiri anyway. Now he's signed, and it's ironic that he's the one that was suspended. I mean, honestly, you couldn't make it up. It's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Okay. Well, we'll move on just in case Graham kind of takes a wee hissy fit there. But no, I see this as I think you enjoyed that we feature. Well, we might do a feature every week. Graham talking about Hibs. But I don't know how well that will go down. Let's look at the games tomorrow then, Graham. The Scottish League Cup. I don't know about you, but I've not really paid attention to it this year, just because some of the games are on TV, and most of the games are played in different nights and all that kind of stuff. So, will I run through the games, Graham? Or have you got them there?
No, but I can get it in like 2 seconds.
Okay, cool. I should have said that to you before we came on there, how unprofessional I was there. Okay, so we've got Skidden Albion against Peterhead, Kilmarnock against Stenhousemuir, Packet Thistle against Minclose, Dunfermline against Arrow, Ross County against East Fife, Falkirk against Craig, Greenock Morton plays Bonnie Rig Rose. Arbroath will play Air Grace at Millen at home to Edinburgh. So technically it's Paisley against Edinburgh. Sorry about the joke there. Elgin City against Queen of the South. St Johnstone against Ayr United. Inverness against Cove Rangers. Livingston against Kelty Hearts. Dundee against Forfar. Hamilton against Queen's Park. That's all for the show this week. I'll be back next week. Bye. Over to you, Glenn. That was a mouthful.
Do you know what? I think we talk about Hibs and having a really poor League Cup campaign, but I think you look at St Mirren and they've had a dreadful start so far as well. They lost to Airdrie by 2-0. They beat Cowdenbeath by 2-0, and then they lost to Arbroath at home. And again, I think Stephen Robertson's under a lot of pressure already. There's a lot again. St Mirren fans are not overly pleased with him so far. And again, like we said from Motherwell, like we said with Hibs, it is very, very early in the season, but a lot of St Mirren fans are turning against Robertson already. And maybe it's slightly harsh, but again, it's been a very, very poor League Cup campaign for St Mirren. They're only on, I think, how many points have they got? Just check. They've only got, I had that up 2 seconds ago and I just lost it again. They've got 3 points, so they're basically out. That's a really, really poor start.
Yeah. One of the games tomorrow, Graham, I don't know about you, Falkirk and Craig, that kind of looks like a decent game.
It does. Falkirk are actually top now, obviously because of the points deducted to Hibs. I won't mention that again, I promise, for any Hibs fans listening.
It's okay, and they beat Hibs as well. There you go, Graham.
They did. Remember that? No, but I think Falkirk have had a decent start so far. And again, Clyde as well, they got beat obviously quite comfortably by Hibs, but they've done okay so far. I would expect Falkirk to win that. Let's be honest, I would expect Falkirk to beat them comfortably, but you never know. But I think Falkirk have had a decent start. So I think they'll be delighted to get through this group, especially because the fact they had Hibs in the group and you're expecting Hibs to win the league. Sorry, Hibs fans. But no, I think Falkirk have done okay so far. And I keep saying this. Falkirk, for me, I'm used to seeing them in like the top leagues, and they're not. They've been it's the same at Dunfermline. Teams like expect them to be in the Premier League, but they've just fallen so far. So I actually hope Falkirk do okay this season. And I think the fact they're going to probably get through this group stage, and then I'd imagine though, I don't know if they'll be seeded in the next round, but they've got a chance of playing like Hearts, Celtic, Rangers. So it'd be great for them if they can do that.
What about, does any of the other games stick out for you, Graham? Obviously, we're going to talk about the new boys, Kilmarnock, at home to Stenhousemuir.
I think the game probably that stands out for me is St Johnstone against Ayr United. Again, St Johnstone, they've not had a great League Cup campaign so far. They can still, they're on 5 points. Annan Athletic have won the group. Annan have got 10 points, which is incredible for a team from League Two. They've been brilliant. But again, a massive game for Callum Davidson. You would imagine that St Johnstone will win that, but again, you just don't know. St Johnstone are very inconsistent. I just find it so bizarre that they had such a poor season last season, given what they did the year before that.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think they've not really strengthened that much. Again, the window's still open for a while, so I'm assuming they will strengthen. But I think it's going to be a very difficult. I was going to say this in the group chat. I actually think St Johnstone could be in trouble again this season. I really do. And I hate saying that because I like Callum Davidson, but they don't score enough goals still. I think they've lost Callum Hendry again, so they need to strengthen in the forward area. So I would really fear for St Johnstone. And if they lose tomorrow against Ayr United, again, I think a lot of St Johnstone fans might turn against Callum Davidson, which does sound mental considering the fact they won 2 cups not that long ago.
We mentioned about your new signing for Hearts, like Aaron Forrest. I don't know if you know that Glenn, but I'm a big fan of his last season, scoring a lot of goals, and now he's at Hearts. And obviously we can speak about this next week on the show because we're back, by the way, for 2 hours. Did I say that? 2 hours next week as well. Livingston against Kelty Hearts tomorrow. But do you think that Livingston will miss Forrest this season for the amount of goals he scored?
Yeah, I think he will. I mean, every time I saw Forrest last season, as I said earlier, he's very direct. When he gets the ball, he tries to beat his man, and that's what you want from a wide player. Too many times I've seen wide players that don't really want to attack their fullback, and Alan Forrest does that. And as you said, he gets goals and he gets assists. So I think he will be a massive miss for Livingston. But they've got to try and look to strengthen that area, and I'm sure they will. I know Reagan has criticised David Martindale in the past on Livingston, but actually, I quite like David Martindale. I like the way he comes across. I like his honesty. I like the fact he spoke about his past. And I think a guy like that deserves another chance, and he's got that. And I think he's done a very good job. In terms of Livingston, I don't know where they'll finish this season again. I think it would be a case of if they can finish in the top 6, I think Martindale's done a really good job, but I think they will need to strengthen again, like most other teams. I think if you look at Celtic have strengthened really well. I think Hearts have strengthened really well. I think Aberdeen, I think they've done very well in the transfer business so far. Rangers have brought in a few players. I think United have brought in a few, but I think Livingston need to bring in probably another 4 or 5 players just to strengthen the squad a little because they are still a little bit weak.
Let's speak about the new boys, Graham. Bonnie Ridge away down to see the Torn tomorrow, more Torn, at that wonderful skigging that they've got down at the banks of Greenock. So what are you expecting from the Rose this season?
I think they'll do really well in League Two. I really do. I think they're a really good club. They're a family club. They're really well run. They've got some really good players. They try and play football the right way. They try and get the ball on the deck and play decent football. And I think, I watched them against Hibs a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, Hibs were the better team, obviously, but Bonnyrigg gave them problems. That's a League Two side, and they caused Hibs problems. So I don't think they'll fear anyone in League Two. I think they'll have a really good season. It would be absolutely fantastic if they can get promoted, and there's no reason they can't. One of my mates was going to get a season ticket for Bonnyrigg Rose because he lives like 2 minutes from the ground, but he never got one. But he's going to try and go as many games as he can. And if I lived a bit closer, I think I'd do the same. If Hearts went at home and stuff, I could go and see Bonnyrigg. But I think they'll do really well. As I said, they're a really, 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 really well run club. Easy for me to say. So I think they'll do really well, and they'll give any team that they play a really, really hard game, especially at home on that. It's a really nice pitch as well. So any team that goes to Bonnyrigg is going to have a very, very tough game.
And also, believe it or not, Graham, we have got some exciting news. And before you say it, no, I'm not leaving. We have got another show, haven't we, Graham Scatton? That's Sunday, a week on Sunday, between 3 and 5. Join us for that one, as well as the Friday show, but on a Sunday as well. So you get to see our nice looking faces on the webcam on Sunday. And we'll be here speaking about the weekend's games and looking ahead to the midweek action, because there'll be European football coming up as well, and some other sports news as well. So looking forward to that, Graham. It's got a week on Sunday between 3 and 5.
Yeah, I can't wait. Buzzing to get back on the radio again. Buzzing to be doing the show with you guys. It's brilliant. I've said this numerous times before. I love doing the show. It's a highlight of my week. I love coming on here, talking to you, talking to all our newfound public. It's brilliant. And yeah, doing the Sunday show is something that I've wanted to do for a while. It's a case of like, when we're on a Sunday, we'll be covering games that might be played on the Sunday and the games from the Saturday, and we'll have 2 hours to talk about it. So yeah, I cannot wait. And especially because the week after that, it's the first Edinburgh Derby of the season, Easter Road, and that finishes at 12. That starts at 12. So we'll be on after that to talk about the Edinburgh Derby, and I might be in a good mood. I might be in a really bad mood. We'll soon find out.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. So what's out for that one, or listen out for that one, whatever you prefer. You can get it on Andy Live Radio or Independence Live. But don't worry, we're not going away. We're still here every Friday night between 5 and 7, and Sunday 3 until 5. Looking forward to it as well. And apart from me and Graham, because you don't want to listen to us to speaking every week about football, because we don't know what we're talking about half our time. I mean, I thought Stephen Robertson was still, the Murrow manager. So we'll be joined by other people as well, rates of Reagan Stevens, Dave Smith, and there might be Grim Spears coming back on as well, and a few other of my journalistic friends. So I'm looking forward to that. So check it out and tell everybody else. Right, that's me, Scott, getting too excited now, because I know what happens when I get excited. Well, just carry on with the show now. So you can comment on the video below on Facebook or YouTube, or you can get us on Twitter at the Locker Room Indie on Twitter. And believe it or not, Graham, and we haven't mentioned this before on the show because it's partly my fault, we're now on Facebook as well. So is it the what is it, Graham, on Facebook? I should know this. It's just it's just the Locker Room on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Told you I'm having a good show. And Stephen Robertson's coming on the show next week as well. So I better get that one right. Yeah, so check us out on Twitter and Facebook as well. So there you go. Public announcement funny for this week. So, Graham, moving on to speak about the new football season begins next week. I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait. I've really missed it. I've really missed the football, I have to admit. So I cannot wait to see the games next week. Celtic Aberdeen on the Sunday should be a decent game. Aberdeen looking pretty decent in pre-season so far. Again, it's only pre-season, but I think they've looked really good. I think they've signed really, really well. I think Jim Goodwin's done really well. And I said before, I expect teams that didn't do well last season, like Hibs and Aberdeen, to be a lot better this season because they can't be any worse. I'm expecting Hearts to be really good next season because that's what I just hope. And I think Celtic and Rangers they'll probably be the top two again. In what order, I don't know. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen next season, European football. And then, obviously, I know you didn't have the scripted, but I'm going to talk about it anyway, just because I can. So it was mentioned.
Okay.
It was just let me go with this. It was mentioned during the week that VAR will be brought in earlier than after the World Cup. So they're talking about it between October that it might get brought in. Now, I personally think if you're going to use VAR, it should be used for the first game of the season and not halfway through the season.
Yeah.
But I know there's Neil Doncaster came out and said why that wasn't the case. But I think introducing it halfway through a season is a little bit strange. Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to be interesting again to see how VAR is going to work. And I've mentioned this numerous times before. VAR is not the problem; it's the folk that use it. Yeah. If it's used properly by the referees, and I don't think it will be, if it's used properly, brilliant. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to do. But if it's not, then it'll be an absolute disaster. But I think the fact it's got brought forward and it's not going to be now after the World Cup, it's going to be earlier. It'll be interesting to see how it works.
There must be something in the air tonight, Graham. There must be something in the air. No, don't worry, I'm not going to sing. But I totally agree with your point there, Graham. That actually going to happen in Scottish football. Can it not happen from the first games next weekend in schedule of October? Because that way you're maybe like a quarter away through a season.
Yeah, I just think I don't have a problem with VR getting brought in, but I did say earlier on, like last year, whenever it was, that I think bringing VR in after Christmas is absolutely pointless. It should be brought in for the start of the season. Now, I know it's not going to be, but the fact it's now going to be brought in October, again, I would have liked to see it brought in for the start of the season, like you said, for the games next week. But I think it's going to be interesting. I really do. You know, the fact that we've got this coming in now, and I think as well, from what I've heard, I think obviously all teams in the Premier League are going to have big screens as well.
Yeah.
So that folk can see what the issue is. So that'll be interesting. I can't wait to see how that's going to work.
Especially for Park.
Well, there won't be that many fans to see anything, so.
well, maybe they can just fill the host gigging with the host gigging. One of the scans for the monitor, but yeah, I mean, going back to what you were saying there, Graham, and I totally agree with you as well, because there must be something in the air. I don't know, but I'm yet to be sold on VAR, right? But it's like you were saying that who's going to watch VR can make the decisions. That's what I'm not kind of sure about. And it's back to the argument again. It should all the match officials be full time?
See, this is where I think as well as having like an ex-referee in the studio, you should actually have an ex-player as well, because an ex-player's got a bit more experience about what probably should be a foul or what should be a certain decision than what shouldn't be. So, but we've seen it in England. We've seen that they make an absolute mess of it. And what winds me up, and I've said this before as well, what winds me up is the offside decisions. That really winds me up. When you're drawing a little crayon to find out if someone's pinky or is offside, I don't agree with that. That's not what VAR's for. It's meant to be for clear and obvious decisions. So in Scotland, what's going to be a clear and obvious decision? I mean, let's be honest. Rangers will get loads of penalties now with VAR, won't
they? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, yeah. Well, first of all, I didn't know you were going to talk about it, but yeah, that's a good talking point. If you've got any comments, please comment below. But like, only in Scottish football, Grim, that could happen back to front. Oh yeah, we'll bring in VR when? October.
I know this is apparently getting fast-tracked from after Christmas, after the World Cup, which is just pointless. I just think if you're going to do something like this, it has to be for the start of the season. They should have done this. Yeah. They should have done this ages ago. They should have said, right, every club has to get TV screens up by this certain date or whatever, and make it just a clean slate. You know, everyone knows what's happening. Everyone knows the date it's going to come in. To do it halfway through the season, it's just bizarre. But listen, it's Scotland. It's no surprise. But I keep going back to this. My worry is it going to get used properly by our referees? Because we all know that Scottish referees are pretty bang average. So I just don't know if I trust them to use it properly. I hope they do. And I know, listen, at the start there'll be a lot of things to iron out. And hopefully once it gets a bit more into it, it'll get better. But I have my doubts.
Do you think that VR is not a good addition to the game in Scottish football? That was saying, yeah, that's, and I think a lot of people might be saying a waste of money as well.
I think it is. I mean, I keep going back to England, but if you look at England, for example, I mean, there's been so many poor decisions there, and what I don't understand at times as well is that some referees are called to go and look at the monitor and other referees aren't called to look at the monitor. It has to be completely go and look at the monitor. Every ref should go and look at the monitor because then they've got a chance to see it. So I just think, I mean, am I expecting Andrew Dallas or Craig Thompson to go and look at the screen? They huffed it. And I just hope it's going to be used properly, but I worry about it.
Now, I need to pull you up on something there, Graham, right? Because you said to me Stephen Robertson's not the manager of Motherwell, right?
You're going to say Craig Thompson, aren't you?
I think, yeah, but I'm going to take it to VAR because I never saw you come in, so yeah, so that's one each now, Graham.
There's always one, isn't there? What's Zagflash is saying? Is it the referee's sole decision to go to VAR? Can a fourth official call for it? I think it's the referee's decision to go to VAR. And obviously the guy who's looking at it in the studio, wherever they're going to be, probably Ibrox. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But I think it'll be the guy in the. What should technically happen is, I think the guy in the box should be sent to the referee. I think he made a mistake there. Go and look at the monitor. That's what should happen. Whether it will, I don't know. But I mean, for me, if a referee thinks he's made the wrong call, he should be saying, right, I'll go and check this myself. But that won't happen. Let's be honest. It's Scotland. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Do you think that obviously people in England and all that think Scottish football is a Mickey Mouse league anyway, but as soon as they heard that VAR coming in the middle of the season, do you think they'll have a good laugh at us and say, well, they don't know what they're doing up the road anyway?
Well, if I was in England, I probably would. Or any other nation, let's be honest, because it's Scotland. We're laughed at all the time. But I just think to bring it forward to October, I don't really understand where Doncaster's coming from. I think, as I keep on saying, it has got to be start of the season or don't bother at all. Because what's going to happen. First game of the season is going to be a really poor decision made that VAR could have got involved in. So I just think to bring it in October is a little bit stupid. Start of the season, bring it in. Everyone knows what's going to happen. But I mean, I was even more raging the fact that it was going to be brought in after Christmas, because what was the point in that? Seriously.
I mean, the only thing is I could see them bringing VR in October because the weather's bad. That's my only point in that one. But that was a joke there, just in case everybody's saying, what? The weather's bad in October? The weather's bad all year round, Michael. What do I know? I'm not Sean Batty. I'm just Batty. We're here until 7 o'clock tonight, and it's been a long show, Reggie. With Michael McCune and Graham Duffy. If you're watching on if you're watching on Independent Live, or listening to us on Indie Live Radio, we're here between 5 and 7 every Friday night, and it has been revealed to get Jim White come back. We are on every Sunday now, apart from this Sunday, but that's not every Sunday. Between 3 and 5 with the football roundup of the weekend. So stick around for that one. But just come back on your question. How was the Sclans game for the World Cup? Yeah, that's a good question, Graham.
Well, the thing is, I mean, the whole of Scotland and that's going to stop for the World Cup anyway, so it's not really going to make a massive difference. Because the season's going to stop in November and it doesn't start again until I think it's December, So I wouldn't think it'll matter too much.
And I'm not sure if the winter break will happen this year. I presume that they'll cancel it because the World Cup will be when the winter break will be. Is that right, Graham? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I think the season finishes. I'm sure I saw this, but the season will stop in November. I don't know what date, and then it'll start again. So that'll basically be the winter break.
Right, okay. So VR will come in then, and then when the season starts, they'll take VR back out of Scottish football because they might have got it cheaper by that time. I'm not sure. So there we go. That's about a wee kick at Scottish football and the SFA tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. More next week. Let's speak about the let's change. Oh, can't believe I'm going to say this, but I've got a point to bring up. Sorry about the darts. Sorry, pointing darts. Sorry,
Boom,
Graham.
boom. Boom, boom. I like that one.
Yeah, I was just watching your face there, and I was thinking, well, I don't know if Graham's still trying to work that one out, or maybe he's laughing at me because he feels, oh no, maybe he's just laughing at me,
I was laughing inside.
Yeah, I saw you were. Thousands believe you, but I don't. Yeah, so it's good to see that women's darts will be on Sky this weekend for the very first time at the what tournament is it at? It's at the one day competition at the PDC.
Yeah, I know our friend Reagan, our good friend Reagan, is a massive darts fan, so I'm sure he'll be watching that. But yeah, it should be decent, watching. I'm not a massive darts fan, mainly because I'm awful at it. But it should be good to see it on TV, and it'll be great for the women's game as well. So it's getting highlighted, and it should be You spoke about this before as well about the fact that having folk back at sporting events would be great, and I think this will be another one because you always see at the darts men's game especially, it's always really busy. So hopefully that'll be the same this weekend for the women's game.
And I suppose I'll kind of encourage, inspire. I don't know about you, Glenn, but that the word inspire, it's Haggett's day because I've kind of used that word over and over and over again. But I'll encourage. There you go. Encourage more people to get into the game and women's sports as well.
Absolutely. I mean, if you go to most pubs and clubs, they've got a dartboard in it. And there are a few folk that still play it. I actually used to have a dartboard a while ago, but I gave it away because I was absolutely terrible at it. But yeah, hopefully it will. And you're watching like the Women's Euros on TV. I watched a couple of games. I watched the England game the other night, and that got a lot of views. So there's a lot of good stuff happening in women's sports these days. So it is great to see that it's getting highlighted a lot more. And I know that on Sunday as well, there's a Celtic Rangers Glasgow Cup game, I think, as well. So again, there's a lot of good stuff happening in the women's game these days.
I thought you were going to say you threw the dartboard away because you didn't see any point to it. So sorry about that. I just love telling jokes. That's why I'm on a regular. So yeah, the tournaments in Blackpool, Grim, it's 8 players. And I'm sure there's somebody from Scotland in it as well. I'm sure this week. 8 players tournaments will be held on the 24th. So that'll be this Sunday at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool. So there you go. So if you want to go and see it, because I think there'll still be tickets left for that event. But yeah, go and see women's sports as well. Getting publicised in the women's Euros as getting. Just a pity Scotland's not on it, but it's brilliant to see women's sport being on the TV and getting recognised, and also it's been presented by women presenters as well.
Yeah, it is. I was on Twitter, I think last week, and I saw a lot of folks saying, "Oh, women's Euros is rubbish." I'll be honest, I hadn't watched a lot of games because I was doing other stuff, but I watched a couple of games. They've been decent standard, to be honest. They've been decent quality. And the England game on Tuesday night was a decent game of football. I thought Spain looked really good for most of the game. England came back and got the goal, and then it's a great goal from Georgie Stanway for the winner. A fantastic finish. So, yeah, it's been a lot of good stuff in women's sports, and we will always highlight it as much as we can on this show. So it's been a lot of good stuff happening, and I think there's another game tonight as well. I think Sweden are playing tonight. Germany beat Austria last night in Women's Euros, and Germany are the holders of this tournament, so they'll be looking to try and win that eventually. But there's been a lot of good tournaments as well. There's been a lot of fans at the games as well, so it's been very, very well documented. And as you say, women are presenting it as well, which is great to see. You've had quite a few decent hosts on it.
I think the game tonight, Graham, will play England. So whoever Sweden is Sorry, what? Who did you say against? I was distracted there.
I had that up earlier as well.
Sweden's playing, but they're
They are.
playing.
I can tell you in 2 seconds because I've got it up here. It is Sweden against, I'm sure it's Belgium.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, so the winner of that game will play England, but everybody's betting on England Germany final.
I was gonna say that. I think that probably is going to be a definite final.
Yeah, how ironic is that?
And then Germany, and then Germany win a penalties because that's just what happens.
Yeah, and but they'll take it to VAR because never crossed the line, and everything's history's going well. Okay, let's speak about the Commonwealth Games now. Graham kicks off a week actually yesterday. First game in Belgium, in Birmingham.
You were close to start with a B.
I got the B bit right. The B. Yeah, so it kicks off between the 28th of August to the 8th. The 28th of August, I'm having a brunch show tonight, by the way. The 28th of July to the 8th of August, and I'll be in Birmingham. And looking forward to seeing sports that doesn't really get recognised, Graham, as much as football and the usual kind of sports.
I cannot wait to see beach volleyball in Birmingham. Honestly, I'm buzzing to watch that. And also, I think because I used to play it, and yes, I did just to play this, lawn bowls as well. I used to love playing lawn bowls.
Okay, I never knew that. Yeah,
I was a junior champion in my club a long time ago, so I did just to play lawn bowls. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and as well, badminton. I used to play that as well. I am over 6 foot, so I could manage to smack it quite high. But no, I'm looking forward to it. It should be decent. And Scotland have got, I think it's 33 athletes competing. So there's a lot of talented athletes in there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do.
So there you go. It's just gone 6 o'clock on the Friday night, and instead of the news headlines, you hear Graham's exclusive there that he used to be a long bowler, and a badminton player. I will say no more about the badminton because I can think of a few funny jokes there, but
trust me, so can I.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I've been surrounded by a few, but I will tell you some at the end of the show. But yeah, so do you play beach volleyball at CG? That's kind of stumped me now. So if you want to tell us what CG is, in fact, keep it clean. Yeah, CG. Any ideas, Graham?
Craig Gordon? Don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Hang on. I'm going to have to check this now. That's got me really intrigued.
Volleyball at CG. Okay. Yep. So moving on then, shall we find the answer? So yeah, how many athletes did you say, Graham? 33?
Scotland have got 33.
Wow, that's a big Commonwealth Games, sorry. How did
I not know that?
Yeah, sorry.
It's been a long show. Sorry, I should have got that.
It's been a long season, even the season not started, but Commonwealth.
Yeah, beach volleyball has been included for the first time, and I cannot wait to see how they're going to do that in Birmingham. Can't wait.
Yep, and also they're introducing a few other sports to the Commonwealth Games as well, as I fight with my computer and try and get the website up, and also they're featuring some new para sports in the Commonwealth Games as well for the first time. But I think I told you that last week, Graham, that this is the only kind of like sporting tournament where they kind of like integrate the para sports with the kind of able-bodied sports as well. So that's good to see.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I think, every athlete has got their own ability, and I think it's great that it's getting, they're getting mixed together, because it's brilliant. And I think, I watched the Paralympics and I thought it was brilliant. There was a lot of sports I didn't recognise before, and I can't remember what that game was that I hadn't watched for a while, and then watched it. That's the one. I loved watching that. It was brilliant to see a completely different sport that I've never seen before. So I think this will be exactly the same. I think it's great that the Paralympians are getting kind of the same exposure as the more able-bodied folks. So yeah, it'll be brilliant, and I think it'll be a really good games. And as I said before, I really hope that they don't have John Bannerman and Karen Dunbar introducing it.
Be a big cupcake. I can't believe how this week's shows went so from a serious show to a very funny show.
I can't believe I never got Commonwealth Games at CG. Oh man, how daft is that?
Yeah, I know exactly. But never mind. If you're daft, I'm daft as well. So yeah, the Birmingham will see the debut of 3-on-3 basketball, and also bring wheelchair basketball into the games for the first time. So that's good. And it says here as well that Birmingham is the diverse city home to 187 nations from around the Commonwealth Games and the rest of the world, Graham.
Yeah, I'm just reading this now. The 2022 Birmingham Games is making history with a fully integrated para program that includes para athletics, comprised of 8 different events, para cycling, para powerlifting, para swimming, para table tennis, para triathlon, and wheelchair basketball, as well as para lawn bowls, which I think is absolutely magnificent. I think it's fantastic to see this. Different sports that I've not seen before, so I can't wait to see what it's going to be like.
And somebody said in other news, Andy Murray will play in Team Europe against the rest of the world alongside Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer. So there you go. Thanks for that. I never knew that bit of news, but there you go. That's why we've got comments coming into the show, because they know better than that. They know better than us, Graham. But
well, considering we couldn't know Commonwealth Games from CG, that just sums it up, really, doesn't it?
It's okay. Stephen Robertson's at the door, and Craig Thompson. I'm going to invite him in for a wee cup of tea. Oh no, it's took back to VR. Come on, mate. I'm not asking for tea. So yeah. So that's the Commonwealth Games, and but do you know something, Graham? Like about the Commonwealth Games, right? It's totally different to the Olympics. So like, you don't have Team GB. You have like Team England and Team Scotland. So like, well, one good thing is when you see somebody from Scotland winning, you hear the national anthem of Scotland, but you don't hear that on the Olympics.
Yeah, that just now means that if Scotland does well, they can't just call it Great Britain. That's brilliant. Yeah. I'm all for that.
Exactly, yeah. But no, I mean, a better competitive between the home nations in the Commonwealth Games. That's what you like to see.
Yeah, and I think as well, I'm looking forward to seeing Eilish McColgan. This will be her 3rd Games, and she's a really, really good athlete. And as well, I didn't know this as well, that Mark Dry, who's a hammer thrower, he took bronze in 2014 and 2018. He's returning after a 28-month ban. So this will be a big game for him as well. So it's just, you're getting to see different folk that you wouldn't normally see. So I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen at this. And hopefully, with the times being decent, I'll actually get to see some of these games as well.
I don't think we can go. I don't think we can go without speaking about Duncan Scott in the swimming pool. Grim, I think he made his kind of debut in 2014, and he won a medal as well. winning 6 medals. Duncan was the star of the pool or at the Gold Coast back in 2018. And it was the most decorated Scot single winning medals in the pool. So that's good to see as well.
Absolutely, just brilliant. It's great to see like Scottish folk doing really well at any tournament. So it's fantastic to see this, and I just think the Commonwealth Games is going to be absolutely brilliant. I think it'll be a really good turnout, as you said the last time on the show as well. That having folk at these games is going to be brilliant. You know, if you're whether you're Scottish, English, Welsh, whatever, hearing the fans behind you, I think that'll be brilliant, and hopefully this will be a really good game. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen this time.
Yeah, no, exactly. And also, I was watching something today, Graham, and I think is it today or Monday? It's actually been so many years since the Commonwealth Games was in no, not the Commonwealth Games. The Olympics was in London. And I did hear an interview, I don't know about you, Glenn, but I heard an interview with the mayor of London, and they kind of hinted that London might be bidding for the Olympics again in 2033.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. I think they've got a good chance of winning it as well. I think it was quite well organised the last time.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they won it again, because it was really good the last time. So yeah, I think they've got a very good chance of winning it again.
Well, they've got everything in place now. I think the West Ham Stadium was getting used for the running track and all that.
Yeah, it's a great stadium. It's a really, really big stadium. So I think London's I think they probably fancy the chance of winning this, I think.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. I remember I went to a few events. I was lucky enough to see John Bannerman and Carrigan Park, the opening ceremony. Even though I wasn't at the opening ceremony, I was.
Would you call that lucky enough? I wouldn't.
No. Unlucky. The booby prize of whatever they say, but no, I was at the rehearsal of. So it was actually quite funny, actually. So nobody was in Celtic Park for like the opening ceremony because it was on the Monday night, right? And they went live to I think it was Brian Burnett or something, that he was live in Glasgow Green, and hence they were trying to make it as real as possible, and nobody was behind him. And basically, Brian says, "I can't hear you because of the noise," but it was in an empty park on a Monday night, and the main event was on the Wednesday night. So, but that was pretty funny. So yeah, but no, the atmosphere was good because I went to the boxing as well.
What was that? Just normal night? Was that a normal night in Glasgow? The boxing, no?
No, I was just going to say, no, I wasn't boxing that night. You know, I had a night off. You know. When do you see Team Scotland coming into opening ceremony of the? I did see something yesterday that they're wearing kilts, believe it or not. Who knew? And a big cupcake. Don't ask me where they're putting the cupcake then.
That'll be John Bannerman again.
Yeah. Yeah, regularly be put away any minute now. But yeah. So yeah, it's just brilliant to see sport coming back, and but yeah, I never knew that. So tell me about your experience, Graham, about being a long bowler. That's very exciting.
So this was a long time ago. My brother used to play bowls, and he took me along, and I thought I'd get bored, but I actually really enjoyed it. I got to meet a lot of really nice folk. I got to have a. Can I say I got to have a drink? I won't say how old I was.
Did you meet a guy called Jack? Sorry about that. Sorry, Graham.
That's tumbleweed. That I'm not even going to say anything for that. That's the worst one yet. I I met his partner Jill. But no, I think it was honestly, I really enjoyed it. I really did. It was a really good experience, and the social part of it was great as well. You got to sit in the bar with all these folk and just talking about anything and everything. It was great. I loved it. And in the final, I think I was 19-17 down to the guy I was playing against, and I basically rolled the jack into the ditch and managed to then win the game on the last end. So I managed to win the game. I've never won anything like that in my life, so I was delighted, and I've never gone back again because I wanted to bow out as the champion, which I did. I need to get back to it again, but I love lawn bowls. It's great. A lot of folk, a lot of folks say it's an old man's game. It's not. I loved it.
What about badminton? and don't worry, I'm not going to make any comments here, Graham. It's fine.
No, I did used to play at my local church group. Yes, I was a church boy. I was a very Christian boy. But no, I used to play badminton there, and I played at Meadowbank as well a few times and got absolutely hammered because the standard was very impressive. But I loved it. It was great. So just to see like lawn bowls and badminton, two sports I used to play at the Commonwealth Games, I can't wait to see what it's going to be like. I really can't.
Now asking me saying how was badminton, I'm annoyed at myself because I would love to say a couple of funny lines, but I can't. And I want
you've not done one yet, so go for it.
No, that's okay. I'll pass up on that one. I was going to say, was it good crack at the badminton? Yeah, I think I could get away with saying that because it was very quickly. Let's move on very quickly. You can contact us at the Locker Room Indie. You can contact us on Twitter at the Locker Room Indie on Twitter, or you can comment below, like Gordon McNeilgig. How much? Yes, looking forward to league though. Okay, yeah.
How much you look forward to league restarting is what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, it should be fun. I'm not doing football. Are you talking about the Long Bowls League? Or are you talking about football? Because we bypassed the football now, mate, or the badminton league.
But Gordon wasn't here before.
All right, okay.
He's joined us. He's joined us late.
Right, okay. So just pretend this is 5 o'clock again. You're listening to on till 8 o'clock tonight. No. Yeah, so we will give your predictions next week about who's going to win the league. I'm not going to ask
Hearts, glorious hearts. Okay, maybe not.
Because I won't change this week, next week, or the week after, or maybe when they bring VAR on as well. But there you go. Sorry, guys, missed that. Well, if you're coming late for the show, can you send us a wee email so that we can start the show when you're coming in? Because we don't want to start the show without you, Graham.
That's 100 lines for Gordon. I must not miss the start of the show again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's 1,000 lines for me then, because I've missed it for years.
Just to answer Gordon's question, as he has asked, I can't wait. I'm buzzing for it. I can't wait to see what's going to happen this season. I can't wait to see how Hearts are going to do. I can't wait to see how other teams are going to do. And as long as we finish third place again, I'll be delighted. Gordon, what's your thoughts for the season, mate? Because you asked the question, are you looking forward to start the season?
Yep. So put your comments in as well. I know we were talking about the Commonwealth Games, Graham, but mine's all overseas from COVID. Right, okay. So hopefully you're keeping well. And
he had to throw that bombshell, and I've got to feel sorry for him. I hope you're feeling well, Gordon, mate.
That's because he doesn't want to write 100 lines, but you still got to write 100. No, I'm not okay. I wouldn't do that to you. Graham, have you been watching any of the athletics this week over in, is it America?
No, and I'll tell you for why, because my wife and kids were away this week, so I've had the house to myself. So I've been playing FIFA pretty much every day, and I've
Oh,
very
just
rarely
because well
watched
you take
anything else.
just because well you take FIFA there, Graham. I was getting worried, mate.
No, I've been playing a lot of computer games and watching like a lot of different stuff, so I haven't actually watched any of it.
Yeah, no, don't worry, I've not been watching a lot of it either. I don't know what you're like, but I only watch the athletics when the Commonwealth Games are on or the Olympics. I don't really go out my way to watch, like the Diamond League or whatever it's called and all that,
No, I mean I do like athletics and stuff, but I think at times I'd rather kind of watch something a bit more, I don't know, a bit more demanding. But don't get me wrong, I do like it, and I like it in the Commonwealth Games. So I think this next couple of weeks with the Commonwealth Games, I think will be great.
I would be great to see it coming back to Scotland one day. I know we were talking about London, but it would be good for Scotland to host the Commonwealth Games again. But do you think that they will? And a independent Scotland, there you go. I've got my brownie points connect, Graham.
100%. I mean, I did like the games the last time it came to Scotland, apart from what I said about John Barrowman and Karen Dunbar. I'm only joking if you're listening, guys. But no, I just think having that in Scotland, like the Euros did, it brought a lot of Scottish folk together. A lot of folk actually liked watching it, and I actually did. I have to admit, I did watch opening ceremony, and Celtic Park was packed that day when they showed you that. So it would be great to have it back in Scotland again. And I think, to be fair to Scotland, it was organised very, very well. I've never heard anyone complain about it. I thought it was organised very, very well.
So Gordon's not been here, so I'll just tell you about the news. We told everyone tonight that we're on next Sunday. We're on next Sunday between 3 and 5 for the new season. So if you want to watch us, talking about the new football season, you can check us out on Indie Live Radio or Independent Live every Sunday between 3 and 5. But don't worry, I'll be here every Friday night between 5 and 7, playing the weekend football action and the weekend's sporting action as well as the Commonwealth Games next week, because we'll be talking about the Commonwealth Games next week on the show as well. So just to kind of like whet your appetite, as it were, there's a few games on this weekend in the League Cup action, and I think, I might be wrong, but I think this is the last round of the League Cup games before they go into the playoff games for the next round of the game. So yeah, and then the week after that, there'll be the weeks the football action as well, where they kick off. Now, Graham, I need to speak about this, right? Because I made a mess of it last week again on the show. Scotland won the series against Argentina last week, so that was good to see. And I know Ireland got a brilliant victory over New Zealand for the very first time in the history, so that was good.
Yeah, I watched that Ireland game. I thought they were absolutely brilliant. I thought they were going to blow at one point. They were winning by a couple of points, and I thought, they're going to throw this away. And then managed to win it. I was delighted for them. It was a historic series win for them, and I was so pleased for them. And you just saw what it meant to the Irish people, the Irish fans, the Irish players. It was such a massive, massive win. So yeah, I was delighted to see them winning it. Disappointing for New Zealand, obviously, but I couldn't have been any happier for Ireland. Scotland game. Did they win that game? I thought they got beat.
I think I've made a mess about it. I think I've made a mess again. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, I never saw any of the games because they were on at 20 o'clock, because it was on Argentina and all that. So there you go. Some guys just come in with a comment saying that the World Athletics will be on BBC One. Not that we advertise anything on there, but yeah. So BBC One tomorrow morning. Yeah, Argentina won the series. I thought I was right.
They won 34-31.
Yeah.
I was out last weekend, so I missed some of the game, but I caught the last maybe 5 minutes of the game. And again, I'd said before the show, I thought Scotland win that series. Disappointingly, they didn't. But I mean, they did okay. They were decent in spells, but again, it's disappointing for Scotland. And I've seen again on Twitter a lot of Scotland fans calling for Gregor Townsend to get sacked, which I think is very, very harsh. I think he's a good manager for Scotland. But yeah, it's disappointing that they didn't manage to win the series, because I think had they won, that would have given us a lift. But it's disappointing, and to come so close, 34-31, it's a massive disappointment. But I think to call for Gregor Townsend to get sacked is very, very harsh.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I knew Argentina won the series. I was just testing Grim's memory about rugby there, because you're
a bad man, Michael.
I knew it all. I never actually. So yeah, but yeah, it's good to see sports getting back up and running. Grim.
It is, and we spoke a couple of years ago about the fact that when sports were on, not having fans in the grounds and stuff was tough,
Yeah.
And now that obviously, I know we still have COVID around, I know we still got it here, but the fact is you can still get the sporting occasions like league games or cup games or Scotland rugby games and stuff like that, and Commonwealth games. It's massive. If you're a sports person, you need to have the fans behind you. So I think having fans back at these sporting occasions is huge, and it's going to be brilliant. It really is so good to have it back. And as I said, I know that there's still a lot of stuff with COVID around, and I know the kind of spike's a bit higher now, but to get fans back in these sporting occasions is great. Like tomorrow, I'm going to Tynecastle to watch Hearts against Stoke in a friendly with my laddie. I can't wait to get back to Tynecastle again, take my son with me. So, it's great to get back at the stadiums again. It really is.
I'm just reading, Grim, this news is just broke about an incident that we spoke about earlier on in the European game last night from Motherwell and Sligo Rovers. Motherwell have been very disappointed over a bottle incident at the Sligo Rovers lost. So I'm just reading this as we speak here. The incident took place near the end of the well end where Motherwell lost the goal. Motherwell turned out into great numbers, more than 700. Yeah, so I'm just trying to find this news as we speak. So if yeah, so that's very poor, Grim.
I mean, how many times do we have to talk about this? We spoke about Rangers last season and now Motherwell this season. I mean, why are fans still doing this in this day and age? Seriously.
Yeah.
What I'd love to know is how are they getting a glass bottle into the ground in the first place? Surely they should be checked. I mean, it's happening far too much now. It's really disappointing. It really is. I hadn't seen this until you mentioned this, so it's so disappointing. And Motherwell are a good club, and Alan Burrows is very, very active on Twitter, so he'll be disappointed with that. I hope they find whoever did it, and the right punishment is handed out. But this is happening just too much now. This shouldn't be happening in this day and age, that things get thrown on the pitch at football grounds. It's just an absolute joke.
And it's more bad news for Motherwell, Graham, because even though they get beat last night 1-0, but also this incident as well, that's the last thing that they wanted to hear.
Yeah, Motherwell losing the bottle on the pitch and apparently off the pitch as well.
Hey, I'll give you that one, mate. I like that. Yeah.
It's disappointing. It shouldn't be happening. Things need to get stamped out. It really is shocking. And I hope whoever did it is found and punished in the right way. If you want to punish them, give them a season ticket for Easter Road.
I think we'll move on from there. But no, it says Motherwell says they're likely that the club will get fined by UEFA too rightly so, Graham.
100%. You know, I feel sorry for Motherwell because it's not their fault. But in another sense, how are they getting this bottle into the stadium in the first place?
Yeah.
So it is difficult, but you know, Motherwell can't know that someone is going to chuck something on the pitch. It's like if you chuck a coin at somebody. How can a club be punished for that? You know, you can't stop anyone taking a coin at the pocket and chucking it at somebody. So it is difficult to police, but you know, whoever's done it should probably get a fine for Motherwell. Absolutely, it's just an absolute joke in this day and age that this is still happening.
And I mean, it should be easy enough to police last night, Graham, because I mean, obviously the game wasn't on the TV, but I mean, I wouldn't be expecting to be a sellout of that game last night. So the police would be able to, or the stewards would be able to identify where it's coming from or who's getting in with the bottle or whatever it is to the games. And when you're hearing that news, you think, look, this is before the season actually officially starts in Scotland.
I know. I mean, that could have incited a riot. You could have had Sligo Rovers fans coming in and wading into that as well, seeing their player, whatever, get assault with a bottle. So, you know, it shouldn't be happening. We spoke about this numerous times. It shouldn't be happening still in this day and age. But listen, there's idiots out there, unfortunately. It's hard to stamp this thing out, but whoever's done it should definitely get banned for Fir Park.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I hope they catch him. But what else do we need to do in the game? Obviously, we speak about it every week on the show, and sometimes we're sick of speaking about it. But it's just like suddenly getting crept back into the game even more now, Graham.
Yeah, unfortunately, over the last year and stuff, we've had bottles getting thrown. You've had racial incidents. You've had folk getting, you know, humiliated on like social media and stuff. It's just, it has to stop. You know, I'll get serious for now, but these kind of things have to stop. You know, this is not what we want in the game. These kind of things have to be eradicated. I don't know how we stop it. But so Gordon McIntyre says the fans should point these people out. No place for this behaviour. Yeah, I do agree with that. But at times it is difficult to get involved because you think, oh, if I get involved here, I'm going to get hit. Now there maybe should be a helpline that folk can phone up anonymously or something and say something. But folk are scared to get involved in case it ends up on a fight or a riot. So I can see why folk don't get involved. But then I do agree with Gordon's point as well that maybe if more folk did get involved, it might stop it.
I wonder if Gordon's saying, well, basically you're saying, Gordon, about self-policing and all that. But yeah, I mean, Graham's right, it to be a bit dodgy that sometimes, for people to come ring and say, oh, look, he's got a boat in his pocket or he's going to throw something on the park, it's an absolute disgrace, Graham, and we're trying to talk up sport and football and all the rest of it, but when you hear news like that, it just kind of like annoys you a wee bit.
Listen, I mean, I was at Tynecastle a couple of weeks ago for the game against Bonnyrigg Rose, and it's only Bonnyrigg, but you weren't getting stopped and searched, and I think there's going to have to be a case where, I mean, I've seen it numerous times that certain folk get searched and certain folk don't. It'll be a case that you're going to have to get searched at every ground to make sure you've got nothing on you. And that's the only way to stop it. But then that's going to take a lot of time. So, self-policing, I do agree it might be the way to go. But as I said earlier, it's very difficult to get involved in case you think folk are going to start hitting me or doing something stupid. So it is difficult.
And I know you were saying about getting searched before you get into the game, but remember, you've got COVID to run into the mix as well.
Well, exactly. And I said earlier that there's been a spike in COVID, and there's a lot of folk now don't wear masks outside. There's a lot of folk don't wear masks inside. So it is very difficult. People obviously think, oh, maybe COVID's not that bad now. It's still here. We have to remember that it's still here. So, you have to be very careful. But, people taking bottles to football games, why on earth would you do that? I mean, I have never, ever once thought about chucking something at a player. Never once. Why would you do it? I just don't get it.
Yeah, because that's a place of work. you wouldn't go into your work and throw a bottle at somebody, so like where the players are playing football or whatever sports events it is, that's their place of work. And that's our lesson as well, Graham. When you hear about obviously I brought you the news tonight about Motherwell, but when we spoke about other sporting events, you don't hear about that there. It just happens in football.
Yes, football's a very tribal thing. And the thing is, at rugby as well, you can actually have a pint in the
Yeah.
ground, but obviously
Yep.
you've got a plastic tumbler and stuff, but you can have a pint in the ground. And rugby folk you can mix with folk. I said this earlier in one of the shows previously that I've sat with one of the other guys that used to do the show, Matthew.
Yep.
We went to rugby game at Scotland against Wales. We were sat with Welsh folk, and it was great. You can have a pint. You can have a pint with them. You can have a laugh with them. It was great. You couldn't do that at football. You just could not do it.
No, exactly. And that's sweet sad when you're hearing this conversation, because you would think that it's kind of dying of age and going away, but sadly it's still in society.
I would like to put a wee comment out here as well for anyone that's watching us. And again, I haven't done this. I just want to do this now because it's just in my head. But what do folk think about possibly the reintroduction of standing areas at grounds? Because I saw this highlighted a couple of weeks ago on another thing, but obviously because of the whole Hillsborough disaster, which was an absolute outrage. I'm a Liverpool fan, so it really annoys me what happened that day and the cover up and stuff. But would folk be happy if their stadiums had standing areas again? Because I've thought about this and I thought, would I like to see this at Tynecastle? And I think I probably would, but only in like maybe certain areas. But would folk be happy to have a standing area back at their grounds again?
There you go. You can comment or leave a comment on Twitter at the Locker Room Indie on Twitter, or you can comment on Facebook or YouTube. Claim that the football season doesn't start officially till next week. I'm going to a pre-season game tomorrow, and we haven't spoken about this actually. Celtic are playing Norwich City, and Rangers are playing Tottenham. Now, I didn't realise this until you told me that Celtic and Rangers are kicking off at the same time, and it's the first time since the 90s. I was going to say I can't remember exactly what you said, but it's a bit weird, Graham.
Yeah, it is. It's been a long time since they've kicked off at the same time on the same day, so it'll be interesting to see what happens in Glasgow. I'm glad I'm not going to be in Glasgow for that, because I will be at Tynecastle. But I think it's the first time since about 1990 odd. Actually, I've got it here. It's the first time since 1999.
Do you think it's because the police and all that is kind of saying about, it's on their friendly?
Possibly. It might be, but then again, you're going to have Spurs fans coming from London. You'll have Norwich fans coming. You'll have Norwich fans coming as well. So you're going to have a lot of fans in and around Glasgow at certain times. So listen, I hope everything passes off peacefully. I hope it all goes really well. But it is very, very, 1999, the last time that this happened. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
You could easily have one game, because I remember one season that Celtic and Rangers playing on the same day, but different kickoff times. And I'm sure it was Celtic game kicked off at 5 and the Rangers game kicked off at 2. And they were both at home.
Yeah, I think so. I think they just want to make this kind of a massive day for like football, just having like the two games at the same time. So I think it'll be interesting. And two good games as well. Celtic against Norwich, Rangers against Spurs. It'll be two interesting games. And on my comment I made a minute ago about standard areas, Gordon McIntosh says Celtic Park has it at Green Brigade Corner, I think. He's right, is he? Yeah.
Yep. They had to get permission from the Glasgow City Council to put that in, because and they had to get a certificate by the city council to put the scan in there then. I'm not sure if I would want a standing area back them at kind of like grounds. Maybe it would be a better atmosphere. I'm not sure, especially maybe for the bigger games, like the European games, like for Hearts this season as well. But I'm not kind of like sold on the kind of idea. I think we're that used to. Well, I'm certainly that used to going to games and sitting down for a whether like I'm there or else sometimes I get passes into the media area, so I sit there during the game. So I'm not actually quite sure about that one. Speak to me about we've got we've got about 15 minutes left on the show. You're going to a game tomorrow as well, Graham?
Yeah, so Hearts have played Stoke City in a pre-season friendly for Gary Locke's testimonial. Now, I mentioned this on my podcast that I did, that I'm really pleased that Gary Locke's getting his testimonial. He's been a great servant for Hearts. He missed out on cup finals, 1995-96 against Rangers. He got taken off early. We got beat 5-1 in that game. 1998, he missed that one, but Hearts did win the cup against Rangers that day, which was a brilliant, brilliant day at Celtic Park. I was there and I loved it. And seeing Gary Locke get to come on and lift the trophy was great. He's had a difficult time because he was at Hearts during the Romanov times when he was put in charge of a bunch of kids, to be honest, who weren't getting paid, and he had a really difficult time. But he's been a brilliant servant for Hearts. He really has been. He's a great ambassador for the club. He speaks really well. He was actually asked on a podcast yesterday, listen, would he ever go back to management again? And he basically said no, he loves the job he's doing now at Hearts. So to see him getting a testimonial is great. He thoroughly deserves it. He's a proper Hearts man. You see him at Tynecastle every week. He's brilliant at what he does. I spoke to him a few times, actually. He's a really good guy. And I'm taking my 10-year-old son to the game tomorrow. It's his first game that he's been to for a long time. So I can't wait to take him along. Hopefully it's a decent game, a decent atmosphere. And, it's Hearts' last game before the start of the season next week. So hopefully a decent run out. But I just can't wait to go back to Tynecastle again, take my laddie along, and hopefully my laddie will get the buzz for what to go back again, because that's what I want. I want my laddie to follow my footsteps and follow Hearts like I did when I was younger, when my dad took to my first game. So I think taking your laddie, your daughter to a game is such a great feeling. So I can't wait for tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I know. It'll be a good chance to see the new signings as well, Graham.
Yeah, especially Lawrence Shankland. Apparently he might make his debut tomorrow. So hopefully he starts. Please don't get injured. That'll be the worst thing ever. He gets injured in his first game. But I'm looking forward to seeing the guys. And our last game before the start of the league campaign next week. So it'll be a good turnout. It'll be a good run out because Stoke are a decent championship side. So I cannot wait. Hashbury Tumble, how can you tweet on your phone if you have a pie in one hand and a ball in another? Is there a joke coming in here?
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Yeah.
I'll find a way. Trust me, I'll find a way.
By the way, there's more news coming out of the bottle incident last night at Fir Park. It has been reported that there was a plastic bottle getting thrown on towards the assistant ref from the north end of the John Hunter stand last night at the game. But I suppose, it doesn't matter if it was a plastic bottle or a glass bottle or a sweet paper or whatever. People shouldn't be throwing things, Graham.
No, of course they shouldn't. I don't know what possesses folk to go into the ground and think, I'm going to chuck something on here. I just don't get it. Like you said, it's these players' place of work. I don't get why you would do it. Yes, you can get frustrated at a result or a performance, but don't chuck things on the pitch. It's just ridiculous. There's no need for it.
And reading the statement from Motherwell here, it says, over the last few seasons, there have been a couple of incidents with objects has been thrown onto the field of play at Fir Park. Well, I mean, people don't learn their lessons, Graham, I don't think.
Clearly not. And again, as we spoke about earlier, is it going to be a case of self-policing? But how easy is that going to be to do? So it's disappointing, and I say Mother will be disappointed with that. The result was obviously poor, and then to hear this now is a massive disappointment. And hopefully, whoever's done it will get the ban that they deserve, and I'd imagine that Mother will probably get fined for it again. So
I think, yeah, I was going to go. It's unfair on the club, but if it's taking part in the back door, Graham, it's going to make sense.
Yeah, it will be, and it's a shame. But again, you're going to have to end up searching everybody that comes into the stadium to make sure they're not getting anything on them and really actually pat them down properly. And that takes time. It takes a lot of bodies as well, a lot of stewards, a lot of police. So I don't know if they'll do it, but they're going to have to start if people are taking bottles into games.
And I suppose, that was a big game for Motherwell last night. A big game for Scottish football because they were the only team that was playing to represent Scotland last night. I know you've got Aberdeen, Celtic, Rangers, Hearts coming into it as well, but technically you could say that was Motherwell's night last night, and they get beat, and then a plastic bottle get thrown onto the getting onto the field of play. It's not very good to see.
Yeah, Hashbury Stumble. Honestly, I love that name. Only thing you should chuck are verbal insults. I completely agree. We do that numerous times on the show. Not one bottle in sight.
Yeah, I know. I feel them coming every way. Yeah, and Graham, but also other people as well. But there you go. But yeah, no, it's just terrible for us to be speaking about this skill on the show, Graham. But because you would think that would die away, but sadly, it's skill in our game. And incidentally, it doesn't happen in kind of English football or other kind of leagues as well. It only seems to be happening in Scotland, and I don't know why that is.
No, and you spoke earlier about the fact that when English folks see Scottish football as a Mickey Mouse, and now you've just basically showed that it is with stuff like this. It is shocking, and we will always highlight it when we see it, but we shouldn't have to keep highlighting it because it shouldn't be happening still.
I think it's gone back to the 70s when we're talking about this, Graham.
I wasn't born. I wasn't old enough. I don't know.
Well, okay. Oh, yeah, well, I'm just, I suppose I could say 80s because, I was an 80s baby there, but I thought 70s just to be a bit smart there. But, it's okay, I'll say that again. It's like going back to the 80s, Graham.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I just hope that something happens and this stuff gets eradicated, because I've got a horrible feeling that throughout this season we're going to talk about this again, and I really hope we're not. But I just have a feeling that something else is going to crop up this season.
Thanks for watching tonight. We've got a few minutes left on the show before we finish tonight. Don't forget you can watch us again. I don't know why you would, but you could watch us again on YouTube or Facebook as well. We're here every Friday night between 5 and 7. And Graham has told us early on that we're going to be on a week on Sunday after it'll be during the Celtic Aberdeen game. Between 3 and 5 o'clock. So looking forward to being on a Sunday, looking back at the weekend football action as well.
Yeah, I can't wait. 2 shows Friday, Sunday. I can't wait, and I'm delighted that we're getting a lot of viewers and a lot of folk commenting on this, which is great. It's always great to hear folks' thoughts and what their comments are. And I will say again, Hashbury Stumble is the best name ever. I love
it. So this is the last show before, obviously, everything kicks off. Obviously, we'll be on there next week when the Commonwealth Games are up and running. But the football season, one more show next Friday, and then in you go for the new football season, Graham.
Yeah, I cannot wait. Hearts Ross County next week. I probably won't be there. I might be. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. But just having the football season to look forward to again is great. It's been a long summer without any football to watch. Normally, you've got like an international tournament to watch, but there's been very little apart from obviously the Women's Euros. But it's just great to have the normal football back, and I can't wait to see the highs and lows, and obviously what I talked about earlier, VAR coming in October, which will be an absolute riot, I'm sure. So I can't wait. I really can't wait.
And then you've got Hearts and obviously Rangers qualifying for European football.
Yeah, the draw for ours is, I think, the 1st or 2nd of August, the Europa League. And I think our games are like the 17th to 24th of August, so I can't wait to see who we're going to get. But we've also got that thing that if we do get knocked out, then we know we've got the fallback plan of the Conference League. So we've got guaranteed group stage football in Europe, which is great. You know, it's the first time that it's happened for me as a Hearts fan to see European football, like group stage European football. So I can't wait. I do think it probably will be Conference League. I just think there are too many quality teams in Europa League, but just the European games at Tynecastle is great. You know, I'm absolutely buzzing to see it.
Just come back to my point I made earlier on, Glenn, when we were talking about Motherwell. And obviously, I was saying to you about if Motherwell wins, they will maybe get money to like progress to the next round of the Conference League, right? But because of that happened at Fir Park last night with a fan, do you think Motherwell will actually lose out on the money because like they would have to pay UEFA?
It might depend how much they get fined. You know, we don't know how much they're going to be yet, but I mean, it'll be a massive embarrassment for Motherwell. You know, the result last night was poor, but they still had a chance to pull that round, and now this news has come out, so it's a massive embarrassment for them. So they'll be looking to try and get through this next round and try and get a bit more money in the bank. But again, we don't know how much it's going to be that they're going to have to pay in this fine. But you know, this whole thing's just left a sour taste, I think, and Motherwell will be massively embarrassed by it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I suppose it doesn't matter if it was on the telly or not. It's still embarrassing for people to see that as well.
It is. I actually looked for the game last night, couldn't find it anywhere. I think you had to watch it on a stream. So, you know, it was a massive embarrassment that this has happened, and the fact that Motherwell had to come out and say something about it. And I hope that fan that did it feels really, really guilty, because whoever it is, they should do.
So, what you're looking forward to seeing at the Commonwealth Games, obviously apart from badminton and long bowls?
I think just seeing the Paralympics as well, seeing the sports in that, and just seeing like different Scottish people. As I said, Eilish McColgan, I've always been a massive fan of her. I look forward to seeing that. And I just think seeing, as I said, 33 Scottish competitors, just seeing how they're all going to do. And hopefully Scotland can get a lot of gold medals. I think it'll be difficult because a lot of decent nations in there, but if Scotland can do themselves proud, that's all you want. You know, if they can come, don't leave anything out there. You know, give your best. And I think Hashbury Stubble actually says that here. Disappointment's inherent in all sports, but effort is always applauded. And I think he or she's right. Effort is all you can do in any sport. So I'm sure the Scottish folk will do their best in every sport. I just can't wait to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, no, it'll be good to see live sport coming back on again. I don't know if there's something a bit special about it, Glenn, as well, because like it's just kind of like down the road, if you know what I mean. It's not kind of like in other countries, far and wide countries, but it's only in Birmingham, you know.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like it's close to home, and even though it's a bit further away, but it's just great to have it like very, very close. And I think it'll be really well organised. I think it'll be a really good turnout for a lot of the sports. And as I said earlier, I cannot wait to see beach volleyball in Birmingham. How's that going to work?
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're going to have the Commonwealth Games in Scotland again, they should have the beach volleyball in Millport, or Saltcoats. So I think I'll put my name down for that for volunteering. But yeah,
I'll come to that.
It's a good atmosphere at the Commonwealth Games as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll be a really good turnout, and I actually think it'll get a lot of views on TV as well. You'll be into the millions, I think, because a lot of folk will watch it. And I think you said earlier it's decent times as well, as opposed to like 2:00 in the morning. So it'll be a lot better. The fact that it's well timed this time.
Yeah, no, exactly. and it's all covered on here. But also when we on air next week, the Commonwealth Games will be on. I'm not entirely sure of the timetable yet, but we'll cover the games as well as the football. Rangers and Spurs for the that's the cup that I was telling you about, Graham. Before the show, I was saying that there's a cup getting played for tomorrow between Rangers and Tottenham at Ibrox. So so that was the cup that I was talking about, but I couldn't remember the guy's name that used to play for Rangers and Tottenham. So that's a good kind of gesture for that game tomorrow as well.
Absolutely, William Tull. That was the name. So well done, Hashbury Stumble, for telling us that. And I know one of our colleagues, Reagan, is actually going to that game tomorrow. He's a Spurs fan. Quite why, I've got no idea. Why would you want to support them? But sorry, Reagan, if you're watching me. But no, I think about a decent game, a decent turnout at Ibrox, and it'll be a good workout for both clubs. I'd imagine you'll see a decent Spurs team. Michael's favourite player, Harry Kane, will be playing for Tottenham, maybe.
He might score a goal. I don't know. Or he might play himself. Yeah, he might go celebration that he does every week. But it'll be good to see. But yeah, I mean, so Celtic and Norwich City tomorrow. I wonder if Pookie will score against his former club. He's scoring goals for fun in there as well. And I wonder what team Chris Sutton will support tomorrow. He might sit in the fence.
That'll be a tough one. That he'll be at Ibrox, will he not? Rangers Spurs. That's a big game.
Yeah, well, you never know. Or they might be away at the Commonwealth Games. I'm not sure. And the key for them and ask them. So thanks, Glenn, for joining me tonight on the show. It's been a brilliant, fun 2 hours show. We were just telling jokes to each other because we fancied a show at the Edinburgh Festival, because I've always wanted to get a show at the festival. So if anybody's watching, please get in touch with me after the show. I'm on the winding up. Don't forget you can contact us on Twitter at any time and on Facebook. Just look for Locker Room Indie on Twitter and Facebook. And you can watch us again on YouTube anytime you like. And also, if I've not mentioned it before, I think I have, we're on that Sunday as well. So after the games, we're on that Sunday. Looking back at the weekend's action. So that means we're on twice. We're on a Friday, 5 until 7, and Sunday 3 until 5 on Indie Live Radio and Independence Live as well. And hope throughout the season we will get some of my journalistic friends on and some decent pundits, a bit like me and Graham as well. So you can check us out for that one as well. So I think Steve B is coming up next on Indie Live Radio, and listen out for James Elliott, James E. He is on for his Saturday show, funnily enough, tomorrow, between, I think it is 10 and 1. He'll kill me if I don't get that right, but I've just messed it up, I think. So listen out for that. So thanks for them to join me this week. It's been a fantastic show as always. Thanks to your comments as well. And thanks to your joke, Graham, your one joke that you made. And I think I beat you there by about 5. I'm not. I gave up after 4, mate. That's fine, you know. But there you go. I better not say anymore. Graham's my producer. He might cut me off at any time. Well, you can do that.
I could have done that an hour ago, but I didn't.
Yeah, at 5:05. Okay, so have a good weekend, folks, and we'll see you soon here on Indie Live Radio.